So welcome to the circuit, Ricardo Tormo in the normally quite sunny Valencia here in Spain for another classic Moto2 showdown, we hope, ahead of us. And it is the classic circuit, everybody knows it so well, from the FIM v Repsol and of course from the Valencian Grand Prix that was just a week ago here at this track. So some really key points on the circuit to think about. The cold side of the tyre can often be something to bear in mind too, and that start-finish straight also giving a little bit of slipstream opportunity, but here we often see some close races and some great overtakes with plenty races going down to the final corner. That may well be the case in Moto2 as well, as we already have a champion with Fermin Aldeguer arriving on top of the European standings already. So the pressure is off for him, and closest challenger and teammate Lonzo Lopez will be doing all he can to take his second victory of the season after so far proving the only man capable of overturning his teammates' incredible run this season. I'm Fran Wild, and alongside me will be Elliot York for this Moto2 showdown. And as you can see from that shot of the circuit, the weather is a little better throughout the day than we've had in qualifying. Certainly we've had a lot of rain so far, but we've now got the sun out for another classic, we hope, in Moto2. And it's the two Chiatti bikes at the front of the field then that have really written the story of this season between them. The number 54 of Fermin Aldeguer, an incredible job, unbeaten until the final race in Jerez, when Lonzo Lopez finally kept chipping away and finally managed to take that first win of the season. Fermin, of course, moving up from stock 600 last year, so a rookie on the Moto2 bike, and Lonzo Lopez moving over from the Moto3 World Championship, so also a big challenge, but the two have been truly the class of the field this season, and I think we can expect another duel today, but with plenty other players in the mix as well, not least of all Lucas Tulovich, who's also been on the podium this season, his teammate as well, Adam Noureddin. Xavi Cardelus has been up there, but these two have really been the two men to beat this year. Now that Alonso does have that single race win, will we get another incredible duel to end the season here in Valencia? Time will tell.
Time will tell indeed, Fran. Yes, hello. A good afternoon, is it? Yes, it is a good afternoon.
Just
10 to 1 local time. Track temperature rising, air temperature rising or stabilising at least, and the track is getting ever better. We've had two races so far in the Junior World Championship and European Talent Cup, and now it's time for the final race of the Moto2 European Championship, where, as Fran rightly said, there's been two riders really that have been class of the field, the two Boscoscuro Team Chiatti speed up riders. And yeah, hopefully we can have a nice send-off today between the two, and hopefully some more contenders at the front as well. But it's a familiar story, isn't it? The top two on the grid are the top two in the standings.
They are indeed, yes. It is a very familiar story, but by no means a boring one. Some of the Moto2 races this year have been truly spectacular. A couple in Estoril, absolutely on the wire right down to the end. We had an absolute barnstormer in the Algarve as well, where a little bit of spice near to the end of that one is also the only time that Lonzo Lopez has not finished second to his teammate before that, that win in Jerez. But in qualifying, he has sometimes had Fermin's measure, has he not?
Yeah, he certainly has. Alonzo Lopez will be starting from his fourth pole position of the season, and we're going to hear from him now after a tricky qualifying.
Because the condition was really hard, but finally I can make more or less a perfect lap, because in these conditions make a perfect is more or less impossible. But finally I can do my best. And thank you for my team, for my family, and for all the sponsors who support me.
So yeah, and his best this season certainly has been very good. It's in some ways incredibly unlucky that he's ended up teammates to Fermin Aldeguer, who's had such an incredible season. Obviously, like I said in the start of the show, moved across from Stock 6 machinery into that Moto2 team. Alonzo Lopez, though, made the transition from a Moto3 bike, so a bit of a bigger step, but both have been really, really impressive this season, and he did manage to take that win, like we said, in Jerez, and bring that winning run to an end as Fermin took the crown. But you can see there, so only one time off the second step behind Aldeguer after, yes, some last-minute fireworks on the Algarve. Another great race between the two, but he does arrive as the most recent winner, and it's been a really impressive season the way he's adapted to what is obviously here the Honda Moto2 bike.
Yeah, the riders in the Moto2 European Championship were changing to the Triumph engines that we see in the Moto2 World Championship. They've been in place since 2018. And yeah, or 2019.
I was going to say 19, but I didn't want to immediately be like, no.
Yeah, it's 2019, so... Lopez has been, like you say, Fran, really, really impressive, and it is really unlucky for him that he's had to contend with this man, Fermin Aldeguer, who, of course, we've seen plenty of times now on the world stage. I think he's competed in 8 GPs.
Yeah, we were looking for the who will be a rookie in 2022 stats, weren't we? And he will just miss the cut, unfortunately, having made that transition early and done double duty for much of the latter half of this season. Had some impressive finishes as well. It was well inside the top 10 in Aragon and in Mugello as well. It was a bit crazy how quickly he managed to really make a dent in the points. But obviously it is a bit of a challenge to adjust as well. Like we said, the difference between machinery at the moment is, it's not just plug in and play. When you go to the World Championship paddock, it is a different bike, that Triumph engine. But it's been a really impressive performance from Aldeguer there and here this season, and he will be there full-time next year as well, so we'll get to see a little bit more of the 54.
Really exciting prospect is Fermin Aldeguer. There's not one person who you speak to who isn't excited about what he could potentially do. Of course, he's only 16 years old still, so still really, really young.
So easy to forget, I think.
Yeah, and we were discussing, weren't we, that maybe it's been a little bit disappointing to see him not challenge for top 10s on a regular basis in Moto2, but considering how difficult Moto2 is, and considering he's not ridden that Triumph engine bike in this championship, to go on your debut weekend and finish 12th at Mugello of all places.
Yeah, it was very impressive stuff. Very impressive stuff indeed. But Alonso as well, Alonzo Lopez, we keep calling him Alonso because it just feels like the surname. But yes, Alonzo Lopez also done a few Grand Prix stand-ins as well, and did take a 12th place at the Sachsenring, so that's also no mean feat. Like we said, the last time he'd raced in the Grand Prix paddock was in Moto3, where he was, of course, a Grand Prix podium finisher as well. So that was an impressive performance from him as well. I think the two of them, they've just had that little bit of daylight behind them, haven't they? They've really dominated this season. But it is Tulovich, Lucas Tulovich, who's also a Moto E race winner this year, who's third overall now heading into this race. And he's basically been third or fourth or 2 DNFs. So it's been a very consistent season running at the front for the German. But yeah, we'll have to see what he's able to do here, because I don't think he's ever been on the podium at Valencia, so today he'll be gunning to change that. But his teammates, I'm sure, will want to stand in his way. Adam Norridin.
Yeah, for sure. As you can see there, Adam Norridin finished third earlier on in the season in Valencia. Actually didn't finish too far behind Alonzo Lopez in third place. So starting from the front row in pretty much now dry conditions, Adam Norridin might be an outside shot to try and challenge the two Boscoscuro riders for the race win or the podium. Let's hope so. Let's hope we can get some more battles for the top step. Yeah, you mentioned Lucas Tulovich, Fran. 4th place on the grid for the German rider. He's looking to consolidate 3rd place in the overall standings as well. He's 17 points clear of Xavi Cardlus, who will be a name familiar to many, I assume, as well. Of course, we've seen him in the Moto2 World Championship and FIM NL Moto E World Cup.
Wow, you went for the full name. I'm impressed.
I did, yeah. I'm on brand, Fran. I'm on brand.
You didn't say TM out loud, though, so, room to improve. But no, yeah, and Cardlus is actually the only other rider to have taken a 2nd place. He was the rider able to pick Alonzo Lopez's pocket in that Portimao little shuffle. Other than that, though, he's not been on the podium. So there's that one bright light of 20 points for the Andorran. Other than that, though, a few fourth places. Good season, solid stuff from Cardelus. But I'm sure, yeah, he'll want to try and at least give himself a chance at closing in on Tulovich in the standings. And Adam Noridin as well. He's not too far behind the Andorran in 5th overall, but I'm sure we'll want another podium to round out the season.
We're all set then for the final Moto2 European Championship race of the year. I think we're going to get the grids shortly, as the riders then take their wheel warmers off, tyre warmers off.
Wheel warmers.
Wheel warmers.
So we do have Alonzo Lopez on pole then from Fermin Aldeguer and Adam Noridin. Then we've got Tulovich, Toledo and Cardelus on row 2. Ahead of Vugrinec, Wilford and Orgis then on the 3rd row of the grid. Then we have Tiger Harder, Perez, Garcia, Escric, Rato, Kubo ahead of his move to Moto2. Eki, Torresillas and Orgis on row 6 of the grid. Eki, of course, also a wild card at the Valencia GP. And then Cruiser, Davis, Fernando Paz, Chuba, Burboom, Montero, Hostruk, Rehacek, Vostatek. Nice Czech contingent there on the 9th row of the grid. And Hostruk, Romanian, heading in from the NTC this year. And then Perez, Ferracci and Ottaviani rounding out the field. So, could be an interesting one, this. We've seen a couple of Northern Talent Cup alumni turn up this weekend. Rossi Moore in Moto3, Jacobo Hostruk in Moto2. So a few fresh names. But will there be a fresh name on the top step? Can anyone beat the Boscoscuro duo? I'm not going to bet against it. No. Obviously, we hope for a great race at the front once again, either between the two or if anyone else can really get in that mix and fight it out. But the season they've put together between them has been incredible. And obviously, Fermin Aldeguer at the front there, just a really impressive run of win, 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 win.
I think you missed a couple of wins there off.
I know. I was like, do I go for the absolute full count? I can't do it.
21 degrees air temperature then. Wow, we didn't expect that when we were here yesterday, when it literally did not stop raining. So this is a venture into the unknown for the Moto2 riders. It's been either wet or very, very mixed conditions throughout the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even in warm-up. We've not had a spot of rain since we woke up this morning in Valencia, but because of how cold it was and how much rain we had, warm-up was still pretty much, I wouldn't say wet, but it was certainly damp, and they still had to go out on wet tyres.
Still a little bit damp, yeah, but it was certainly the best conditions we've had for a while, so it was an interesting barometer for the races. But now, yeah, it is really a lot drier. Almost no damp patches that we can see now from the commentary box on the main straight. We're sort of at the Repsol branded gantry with the lights on it. So yeah, it looks like it should be pretty good conditions for the Moto2 guys after, yeah, the smaller machinery's been out there and helped dry it out as well as the sun. But I'm just excited to see what this one has in store.
Yeah, me too. Last race of the season, of course, so all or nothing here for these riders. Championship already wrapped up, so it's all about pride and just trying to do as good as possible and head into the winter break with as much confidence and happiness and whatever else that you want just to take into the winter. Yeah, exactly, just like us. Good to see fans there as well. We saw them in the background as the previous shot. Really nice to have fans back in the grandstands above us here in pit lane, and they'll be hoping as well, of course, to see a fantastic fight between Alonzo Lopez, Fermin Aldeguer, Adam Noridin, Lucas Tulovich. Alex Toledo starts from the middle of the 5th row. Cardelus, as we mentioned, outside of row 2.
Does indeed. So, the calm before the storm. So Alonzo Lopez then, another pole position. Can he convert it into another win and make teammate Fermin Aldeguer settle for second once more? You can see the big Grazie Vale mural on the side of that building there, looking down on the Valencia circuit, Ricardo Tormo. And soon the lights will come on, hopefully, in the top left of your screen. They do. So the lights on and the lights go out, and we're underway then for the final Moto2 encounter of the season. And it looked like a bit of a better start initially for Fermin Aldeguer, but I think Alonzo Lopez then is going to take the whole shot. The number 21 smoothly into turn 1, takes the race lead then early doors. And Aldeguer actually losing out a little bit after that good jump off the line. And it's Adam Noridin Norridin up into second place.
Great start then from Lonzo Lopez from pole position. Yeah, I think looking out the commentary box window and on the screen, Aldeguer just got a bit of a wheelie when he was trying to accelerate, which obviously, of course, doesn't help his matter, and slipped down to third place behind Norridin. But yeah, the perfect getaway then for Lonzo Lopez as he chases his second winning succession, a second win of the season. Safely negotiated the first sector, can be quite treacherous even in fully dry conditions, let alone when there's still a few wet patches. We'll watch out for turn one in particular. We've seen a few riders already today have a few moments or even go down there. So
yeah, have a few wobbles, especially on really near the apex of the corner. There was a bit of a damp patch that lasted a wee bit longer than some of the others on the track, caught a couple out. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that, like you say. But Alonso Lopez then, perfect start to his Sunday so far, taking the lead from pole position and a little bit of daylight in hand as well over Adam Norridin. But great job from the Malaysian so far to have taken that second place. And Aldeguer so far not making too many inroads either, as Tulovich then is in fourth at the moment, and Harder then in a really close battle for fifth against Roberto Garcia at the moment.
Good start from Harder, actually. He was 11th on the grid, so he's already up into fifth place from the Japanese rider. So good start there as they round the final corner and will cross the line with 18 laps to go. It's Alonso Lopez leading the way. What is the gap? It looks to be just under a second, yeah, just over half a second, 0.6 back to Norridin, Aldeguer, and then Lucas Tulovich, who's backing it in there slightly into turn one. Norridin just having a little bit of a wiggle, weren't he? Down into turn one, we've mentioned that. Down into turn one. It's a little bit treacherous down there, but all okay so far.
And it looked like there was an open door there that Aldeguer was tempted to take, but not quite yet. No room through past the Malaysian. And like we said, yeah, after that wiggle as well, he's probably just having a couple of moments to catch his breath and settle back into a rhythm. But great job from him so far. But obviously the best job so far, definitely Alonso Lopez with that lead. You can see he's stretching that out a little bit by another couple of tenths, I think. So great job from the number 21 if he does want to try and take another win. But it looks like Aldeguer then has made his way through into second place. So do we start the Jaws music for the number 54? I think we may. Yeah,
I think we do. Let's see what Aldeguer can do then. Now he's got a little bit of clean air ahead of him. Alonso Lopez, that looks to be at least a second now ahead of Firmin Aldeguer. But I'm going to predict that Aldeguer can try and reel him in, and we'll have a good scrap at the front with Norridin then trying to hang on to the coattails of Firmin Aldeguer. Not many people have been able to do that this year, apart from Alonso Lopez, so it'll be interesting to see if Norridin can cling on to the back of Aldeguer and maybe claw his way up to Alonso Lopez as well.
I think we're already starting to see the answer. Sadly, number 54 able to pull away a little bit so far on this lap already, so it'd be interesting to see what he's got in hand then to try and drag back his teammates into another classic duel between the two. So over the line then, it's 1.380 that Alonso Lopez has in hand over his teammate. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see how it changes. Adam Norridin still in pretty good touch with the number 54, but not been able to make a move in return so far, and it was the fastest lap from Lopez. But as Aldeguer also made that move, you'd expect he's maybe not quite done one at full chat just yet.
Just looking down the timing screens, Carlos is down to 11th place. Not sure what happened to the Andorran rider. Long lap times 2 for Carlos. That explains why then. So he must have taken his first long lap on the previous lap. He's got another one coming there. We didn't know about that, or at least I didn't. I didn't see that in the...
I've not seen it come up on our timing screen just yet. I'm not sure if he's maybe dropped back because he's done the first of those long lap penalties. So yeah, we'll have to see what comes of that then. But yeah, bit of a difficult day then for the Andorran so far. He did start much further up the grid. But yeah, and I think the biggest gainer, like you said, Tiger Harder is still in 6th place at the moment. He was just behind Garcia last time over the line, so did lose out a little bit in that battle. But now you can see then we're starting to get a little bit of daylight between the top 3 as Aldeguer just gets a little bit closer to Lopez and a little bit further ahead of Adam Norridin. So we'll have to see how this plays out. It's going to be a classic Moto2 one about lap times and gaps. We're not going to get the ETC crazy shuffles, but we'll hope for a grandstand finish because we've seen some real cracking races from these two so far this year.
No jump starts then. That's good news at least, and Adam Norridin crossed the line ahead of Lucas Tulovich. What is the gap between the two teammates? 1.6 seconds. So Lucas Tulovich in 4th place is consolidating 3rd overall in the standings, especially with Carlos down now in 15th place, 16th place. Oh, he's tumbling down the order. So I was going to say he must have taken his second long lap penalty, but there's some sort of issue there for Xavi Carlos, and it looks like his race is over. Not sure what's happened. Mechanical issue. Yeah, the bike's on fire there, you can see. So hopefully Xavi Carlos can notice that a little bit quickly.
Aware
jump
that there's
off
a problem,
that.
But there is a fire.
Yeah.
So hopefully, yeah, he'll move over now. And the double long lap, apologies, viewers, it was from a penalty from qualifying.
Okay.
So, yeah, he obviously took the first of those and then had some mechanical issues there. So we hope he is able to dump that bike fairly quickly and safely away from the track after that issue. Not sure whatever's happened there, but really bad luck then for him in the final one of the season. It's not how you want to end your year of competition at all. But at the front, it's exactly how Lonzo Lopez would want to end his year of competition. So far, at least, still got a good gap over teammate Fermin Aldeguer, but there's an awful lot more daylight now behind the two Boscos Gurus. So we hope... Okay, I was going to say we hope you're not seeing that graphic at home. But yeah, so back at the front then, we still have that familiar sight. 21 leading 54 though this time around as the two Boscos Gurus do make their way away from the rest of the field. But it isn't the biggest gap we've seen at sometimes this year. It's only a couple of seconds back to Adam Noureddin, so the Malaysian doing a really good job at the moment in third. And then his teammate Lucas Tulovich also within an even smaller gap behind him. And the German very eager to sign off from the season with a podium.
Yeah, Noureddin had 3 non-scores from his last podium in Portimao Race 1 to Jerez Race 2 when he finished 6th. So yeah, Noureddin really hungry for a return to the podium as we get a replay of the start. Alonso Lopez getting away well, boot smoke in there. It was Alonso Lopez and then Fermin Aldeguer who got a little bit of a wheelie on. So yeah, that just disrupted their runs. Disrupted. Down into turn 1 as Noureddin dived at the inside, and Tulovich there just getting hung out to dry a bit on the paint. You've got to be careful there, obviously, because the riders aren't running over that, so there's going to be some standing water. There
is, yeah. You could see that wet patch just on the inside of turn 1 there. Still a little bit darker, the asphalt down there. But it was a fairly clean start. But yeah, it looked like Aldeguer initially was the first one away, but yeah, just not able to stay with Lopez. And yeah, unfortunately, Tulovich hung out to dry, like you said, on the outside line. Noureddin getting a really good start and putting his bike in the perfect place there to make an early attack for second place. Sounds like we've got a crasher then, as you can see on screen. So that's bad luck for Martin Vugrinec, the Croatian rider, stock 6 runner. We hope he's okay. But at the front then you can see it's only getting bigger, isn't it? That gap between Aldeguer and Adam Noureddin, yep, so it's now up to 4.3 seconds between the number 54 and the number 7. So it could be an interesting one in that battle for third, though, because Tulovich has made up some good ground as well. He's now within a second of his teammates. I don't know if Noureddin's made a little bit of a mistake somewhere as we were watching that replay of the race start.
Looks like he has, because his lap time was nearly a second down on Tulovich, wasn't it? And then incidentally, up the front, the two that we're focusing on here, the lap times are pretty much similar, just a 10th in it in favour of Fermin Aldeguer. So the gap's still, there you go, as we were just saying, it's almost like we can control that, can't we? But we don't.
Yeah, we don't. That was just incredible, great timing there from the graphics guys. But yeah, only a 10th in it then at the moment. So Alonso Lopez holding firm in the lead of this race. But I can still hear a little bit of that Jaws music though, because he's getting a little bit closer, is Fermin Aldeguer. So great job from the number 54 once more. But Alonso Lopez so far, pretty much everything he needed to do, he's done. Great start, got the whole shot, got the hammer down, and managed to keep it nice and clean in the race lead.
Into a nice rhythm, isn't he, the number 21, looking very, very good, and it just shows when Fermin Aldeguer can't quite bridge the gap straight away that you're going very, very quick indeed. There's Xavi Carlos then, thankfully all okay, and hopefully the bike was put out when it was on fire heading into pit lane.
Can't see any serious plumes of smoke across the track from where we're sat. So yeah, hopefully then the Andorran was able to park that in a good safe place by the side of the track. But yeah, bad luck for him. It is not how you want to end the year, is it? But these guys, though, this is very close now then. The number 3 of Lucas Tulovich right on the back of his teammate, Malaysian Adam Noureddin. So I don't think Tulovich, I saw him briefly this morning. I said, first podium at Valencia maybe today, and kind of accidentally pointed out that he'd not had one yet. So maybe today is the day. It's not a track where he's got the best record, and Noureddin, yes, so this could be an interesting battle between these two guys with plenty of bragging rights on the line as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned before, that Noureddin actually did beat Lucas Tulovich to the podium when we visited here a few months ago at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. So Tulovich is trying to return the favour on his team, and it looks like he's going to do so as well. Right up the back of the number 7 is Tulovich. Not quite enough slipstream down there for the Moto2 riders to properly use it like there is in the Talent Cup and the Junior World Championship. But yeah, Lucas Tulovich climbing all over the back of Adam Noureddin. That's a passing manoeuvre there up into turn 11 that we see very often. Riders diving up the inside, hitting the apex, and then getting the bike stood up and down into turn 12, and then the spectacular turn 13. I managed to just get out on the scooter and have a watch of the Moto3 riders there yesterday. It's just super impressive, the speed they can carry, even in the wet, as it was in qualifying yesterday. It's amazing to see them not fully lent over, but lent over full gas and absolutely creaming it over the hill into turn 14.
It is. It's a pretty cool sight. And this is a pretty cool sight as well now in this battle for third then. Those two guys absolutely locked together, and Tulovich makes his move. Can he get it stopped? Looks like he's gone a little bit wide, but I think he's kept it on track. Yep, absolutely. So job done then for the number 3. That was nice stuff from the German to move into third for potentially his first Valencia podium. See if Noureddin can respond. Maybe if he did have a bit of an issue a couple of laps ago, maybe he's just taking a minute to get back into his rhythm. We'll see what the Malaysian has got in the next few laps, I'm sure, and see if he can hang on to the coattails of the number 3.
Gap at the front is down to 0.9 seconds, so just under a second. Last lap for Firmin Aldeguer was a 1:36.8. Lonzo Lopez was a 1:37.0. So a couple of tenths gained for Firmin Aldeguer, and once you get under a second, it's
life gets a little easier, doesn't it?
Life does get a little bit easier. Obviously, they're a little bit closer. Fastest lap of the race there, 36.8. Once again, the graphics doing wonders for me.
Great timing once again, yeah. So Firmin then on the hunt behind his teammate Alonso Lopez, and these guys still pretty close together as well. Adam Noureddin not yet been completely dropped by Tulovich in that battle for third, but this is the battle for the lead then at the moment. You can see it's still a fairly good chunk of time in hand for Lopez, the number 21, but that number 54 machine is just making his way closer and closer to his teammate. Let's see what it is over the line. About the same, nothing too much in it. It's just 1.086, so just about a second at the moment between the two Boscoscuro guys.
Yeah, they're pretty much lapping identical times, which is good news if you're Alonso Lopez. Not the best news for Firmin Aldeguer, as Lopez sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:36.761. The fast lap of the race is probably going to be set for a number of laps to come if they keep doing like this, because they're working out the track conditions, tyres are getting up for temperature, and they're working out where the grip is, where to push, when to just be a little bit cautious still. But Lopez looking really strong here to keep Firmin Aldeguer, the 2021 champion, of course, and Grand Prix bound Spaniard, at bay.
Yep, definitely. Great job, like we said, from the number 21 so far in this race. And especially when Aldeguer did take quite a margin of victory at this track earlier in the year as well. So good sign so far for Lopez then, that he's able to just keep him at bay and set similar lap times at this stage of the race. But as you can see, after this one, there's still another 10 whole laps to go. So there's plenty of time for us to get that grandstand finish, and they've already lapped one of the runners near the back of the field then. So that's pretty impressive stuff. I think that was Ferracci, wasn't it? So nice and well out the way as well, so that's good stuff to see, respecting those blue flags and not getting involved in what is hopefully going to be quite a duel.
Yeah, fingers crossed we get a grandstand finish to finish off a fantastic season on a high, but Alonso Lopez won't be hoping it's a grandstand finish. He'll be hoping to keep his teammate at bay. What's the gap across the line then? It is, yeah, pretty much exactly the same. They just exchanged lap times that were 0.09 of a second apart, so literally you can't get much closer than that in terms of lap times.
You really can't.
Ooh, a little bit of a moment there at turn 1.
Yeah, a bit loose, bit loose. Let's see how Aldeguer took turn 1 then. See that rear tyre just skipping on the paint there. Also a little bit, I saw a little bit of
a bump.
Cool movement there, as they're obviously both pushing on very hard in this race. They've pushed each other this season. Certainly, obviously, Aldeguer has had the upper hand for much of the season, but they really have pushed each other to make that incredible gap that they've often enjoyed back to the rest. And yeah, it is over 10 seconds now back to Tulovich. And Adam Noureddin is still within about a second of his teammate, so that still could be a battle to the finish. We also should talk about the man in 5th, because what a fantastic job. The top stock 6 runner, Roberto Garcia, is still in 5th place, still holding Tiger Harder at bay. Got a 2.5 seconds in hand over the Japanese rider, so that's really, really impressive stuff there.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from the 15-year-old Spaniard on the Avatel Cardoso Racing Superstock bike. And they race together in this class, but the Superstocks don't quite have the same power or the same racecraft, let's say, as the Moto2 bikes. Obviously, Moto2 bikes are purpose-built race machines, aren't they? Whereas Superstock, obviously, are road-going machines that are adapted to racing. So, yeah, really, really impressive from Roberto Garcia to be ahead of the likes of Tiger Harder and Sam Wilford, Kenneth Kubo, World Championship-bound Kenneth Kubo, Diego Perez, and Alexis Skrieg is the second best Superstock rider in P10. So then, Fermin Aldeguer sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:36.3 compared to Alonzo Lopez's 1:36.5. The gap now back down to under a second, but only just 0.9 seconds between them. So Aldeguer now really getting the teeth in, really getting the hooks into the back of his teammate Alonzo Lopez with 8.5 laps to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one, isn't it? They're still very much in the same postcode on track. Let's see how it develops over the next few laps. But yeah, I was just looking to double check, but the top stock 6 finish so far this season was a 9th place, I think. So really, really impressive stuff from Roberto Garcia so far to be running within that top 5, and like I said, ahead of Tiger Harder, Sam Wilford, Kenneth Kubo, who's going to the Moto2 World Championship next year. Really, really great performance from him. So yeah, shout out again, once again. Just had to double check my stat there before speaking it out loud. But here we go then at the front. We're staying glued to these two guys, as we have for so much of the season. It's hard to tell visually, isn't it, between the Moto2 guys, what exactly, if it's getting a little bit smaller, that gap, or getting a little bit bigger, because it does look like it's about the same. Yeah, it's still 0.9 of a second, but it's just so tempting to think that it is getting reeled in a little bit more than maybe the reality shows at the moment, because those laps were, wow,
3,000 of a second
difference between the two. So a very interesting battle of wills at the front of the field between those two. But it does look like Tulovich then has got the upper hand on teammate Adam Noureddin. It's now 2.8 seconds that the Malaysian trails the German. There you can see him on screen in a little bit of free air as the number 7 now. So good race from him, top 4 in the Moto2 European Championship. Absolutely nothing to be sniffed at, but just not able to quite keep pace with the number 3 at the moment. So, but then after we have been singing the praises of Roberto Garcia, it looks like that is one of the other closest battles on the track now. Tiger Harder and Sam Wilford both within a second in a little bit of a trio there. So we'll have to see what happens in that battle.
We sure will. And the lap times for the best laps just indicates sort of the season we've had, doesn't it? Lucas Tulovich at 37.6 on his last lap, 1.3 seconds slower than both Aldeguer and Lopez, and it is an indication of what we've seen this year. These two Boscoscuro Team Chiatti riders have been a class above, let's be brutally honest. They've just been absolutely sensational, both of them. And I know Alonzo Lopez, looking at the championship, would be obviously disappointed to be currently 44 points down. Obviously that will come down to 39 if he wins this race. But what a huge year for Alonzo Lopez in terms of his growth and development. To jump on a Moto2 bike from the Moto3, a massive step. And to be challenging Fermin Aldeguer for pretty much the whole season, who is, well, let's just say he's a bit of a superstar, isn't he, in the making. 16 years old, moving up to the Moto2 class, where he's already had points finishes. And we should mention actually points finishes for Lonzo Lopez as well. When he debuted in the Moto2 class at the Saxman, I think he finished 12th as well.
He did, yeah. He's also a Moto2 World Championship point scorer, which is no mean feat. And yeah, obviously his first Moto2 appearance, because he did come from Moto3, like we said. It's a bit of a dramatic reshuffle, unfortunately, that saw him losing his seat there. And then he came to, like you said, the Bosco-Scuro Talent Team chassis here, took on a new challenge on intermediate class machinery. And like we said, in some ways he's been a little bit overshadowed by that run of 25s at the top of the standings for his teammate. But it can't be underestimated, the really impressive job at adapting to this machinery that he's done. And of course, having shown that he could do that on the Triumph as well. Ooh, bit of a spicy moment there with back marker, but both through safely. I don't think it's changed the gap too much between the two, but it did look like Aldeguer maybe got the rotten end of that deal a little bit, but no, the number 54 able to stay within that same sort of second gap-ish back from his teammate. But yeah, both of them, just great season. And on Bosco-Scuros as well, beating the Calixes in this paddock. So really important and impressive stuff from the chassis manufacturer as well.
Yeah, they're on a roll, aren't they? Bosco-Scuro in the Moto2 European Championship, of course, won it with Jari Montoya last year in 2020. And then, of course, this year with FIM and Aldeguer, but drama at turn 1. Alonso Lopez running wide there. Not sure what happened as the cameras panned away, but that gap's now come down to a good 0.7 seconds. Yeah, not sure what happened there. It doesn't look like he's lost a whole heap of time after running wide.
No, so that was a bit of a confusing one there. We'll see if we can get a replay of that from the start of that moment. Probably just in a little bit hot maybe, but he's gathered it back up and stayed ahead of his teammate and still does have a little bit of time in hand, but with now a few more back markers ahead of them as well. Here we go then. Is this going to be a replay of the moment? I think he's just going to go in a little bit hot, or maybe just have a bit of a moment. Just a bit hot, just a bit too much, asking a bit too much, and not quite able to make the apex then of turn 1. And we do have a little bit more drama on the start-finish straight as well. Someone has just gone past with quite a poorly motorcycle.
Yeah, one of the Superstock 600 rides. There it is, the number 45. Thankfully pulls to the side of the track, Leon August there. Unfortunate end to Leon August's championship in 2021. Hopefully there's not been any oil spill.
He was off the racing line.
He was
on
off
the
the
far
racing
side
line,
of the track, so good instincts from the German. Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, obviously, to end the season like that. But yeah, did definitely keep it well on the left-hand side of the main straight as he came past. But we do have a red flag then. So I imagine it will be for if there is any fluid dropped from that machine. Yeah. Let's see what that means in terms of the race. And you can see a lot of smoke hanging in the air above, and you can see a very angry Alonso Lopez as well.
I don't know if it's happy or angry, because with 5 laps to go, have we completed?
I am just doing the maths. Is he happy? Is he angry? Yeah, it might be right on the borderline, eh?
But yeah, red flag obviously for track conditions. It did happen right outside our commentary box window. Well, I think that's your answer, Fran. I think he's quite happy.
So I think then we hope there's not going to be a restart now, because that's unnecessary mileage.
Well, we'll go with Alonso Lopez's instincts then. We're not quite sure here in the commentary box if that's race done and season done, but Alonso Lopez certainly thinks it is. So congratulations if it is to Alonso Lopez, second win of the season. But yeah, track conditions then, obviously the race direction saw oil spilt. Can't quite see it from our commentary box, but better to be safe than sorry, of course, especially.
It's hard to tell as well after we had damp patches.
Yeah, it is.
What kind of fluid it is that we're looking at, because there are still a very small amount of damp streaks on the main straight, but it must be then from that that incident there. Quite dramatic, straight past the commentary box, but at least though, quick red flag, no harm done, can clean up the track hopefully as quickly as possible for the next races that we've got today as well.
Bit of a shame that ended early, isn't it? Because that was shaping up to be a really fantastic grandstand finish, as we mentioned that we'd have liked to have seen.
It was, yeah. So another win then for the number 21. Impressive stuff from him, and he did have the measure of his teammate until that point.
So yeah, then the riders pulling into Parc Ferme, and there it is then, yeah, Leon August's Superstock 600 Yamaha spilling out the, yeah, you can see there, if you look at the bottom right-hand bit of the bike, you can see the oil absolutely pouring out the side of his machine there. So absolutely spot on from race direction there to bring out the red flags. Clearly some, or a lot of oil spilt on the start-finish straight, and although off the racing line you do not want oil spilt anywhere on a circuit, let alone when the riders are going full chat, tucked up behind the bubble on the start-finish straight, because that could have serious consequences. So yeah, good stuff from race direction to bring out the red flags, and good stuff from Alonzo Lopez to claim his second win of the season. We were talking about heading into the winter full of confidence, and that will do Alonzo Lopez the world of good, beating Fermin Aldeguer, who ends his season with a couple of second places. He'll of course wanted to make it a maximum 11 out of 11, but it wasn't to be. But nevertheless, take nothing away from Fermin Aldeguer. He wins the Moto2 European Championship by 39 points over Alonzo Lopez, as Fermin Aldeguer now gets set for a whole year in the Moto2 World Championship, with speed up, of course. There is then Fermin Aldeguer finishing second, and there's confirmation of his championship victory in 2021. P1 for Fermin Aldeguer. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of Fermin Aldeguer in Parc Ferme in the future. Really is a bit of a star of the future. Just 16 years old. He's absolutely dominated, along with Alonzo Lopez, this year in the European Championship, and already impressed on the world stage, hasn't he? If you're watchers of the Moto2 World Championship, you'll know he's had some great results over there. P7 in Aragon, his best result. There's Alonzo Lopez. There's a nice little burnout to end the season on a high. I'm sure Alonzo Lopez will be hoping to get a Moto2 move at some point in the near future. Based on recent results and based on this season, he certainly deserves a crack at it, doesn't it? Like we say, he did score points in his appearance at the Sachsenring, replacing Hector Garzo, finishing 12th there. So, yep, two stars of the future for sure. Stars of now, really, Fermin Aldeguer and Alonzo Lopez. There's the team celebrating another title victory. Montoya did it last year, and they've done it again this year with Fermin Aldeguer. We'll be hearing from Alonzo Lopez down in Parc Ferme with Fran Wild in due course, and I can see a major clean-up operation on the front straight just outside our commentary box window. I can't even see, if I lean over, where it begins. That's a good 50 metres at least they're cleaning up on the front straight, so there's a bit of a clean-up job for the marshals, who are doing a superb job as always. Yeah, it's a very long stretch of oil, so hopefully there's not too many delays for the upcoming races in the Moto3 Junior World Championship and the title decider, the Hawkers European Talent Cup. Good to see fans in the grandstands. They'll have enjoyed that one, won't they? A nice day for them to come and enjoy some motorcycle racing. Obviously not quite as many as we saw at the season finale 7 days ago in the MotoGP World Championship, but always good to see fans in the grandstands above us here in pit lane. Saw the Fermin Aldeguer Club there. You can just see in the background the number 54 in the yellow shirts. They've been to every race this year, including the Moto2 World Championship races that Fermin Aldeguer has raced in. Follow him everywhere, don't they? And it's fantastic to see them here cheering their lad on. And I'm sure they're excited for 21 races next year. Hopefully, as things stand, we'll be having fans at every race next year. And I wonder if the Fermin Aldeguer fan club will be travelling to all of them. I'm sure they'll love to be there. Saw them all as I come out of the petrol station garage this morning after buying a few goodies to keep me going throughout the day. And they were all buzzing away to watch Fermin Aldeguer. Not sure when we're going to hear from the race winner. just getting confirmation on our timing screens. Race completed due to oil on track. Cleanup operation well underway. And hopefully we'll be getting underway shortly for the last 2 races of the season. I think we're ready for the interview now. We can hear cheers in Parc Fermé and Fermin Alonzo Lopez, race winner, will be down there talking to Fran.
So, Alonzo, it's been an incredible year for you, switching from Moto3 to Moto2 machinery, and now you've got your 2nd win, beating Fermin again here in Valencia. Congratulations.
Yes, for sure it was a tough race because the turn 1 was really difficult, but finally I can make a very good read because we don't ride a lot in dry conditions, but finally I can did a very good race with Fermin because he was very strong for the last week because he was riding here. And finally, I work a lot to this race. And thank you for my family, for the team, to Jose also, because it was a very tough month, but finally we win.
Well, congratulations. Y otra vez en castellano, por favor.
Bueno, la verdad que ha sido una carrera muy difícil porque la curva 1 estaba dificilísima y había que tomar riesgos, pero bueno, al final hemos rodado rapidísimo para estar la pista así, sin apenas haber rodado en seco, porque todo el fin de semana ha estado más o menos seco, agua, y bueno, la verdad que después de un mes súper duro, sabe muy bien ganar de esta manera y nada, gracias a mi familia, al equipo, a José por este mes tan duro, a los chicos por ayudarme a entrenar y nada, y a Lucía.
Enhorabuena.
Adiós.
Lonzo Lopez then started from pole position and got a good getaway to lead into turn 1, and from there never really looked back to take on the race victory for the 2nd time in 2021. Fermin didn't get away too well from 2nd on the grid, but after a couple of laps picked his way past Adam Norradine there down into turn 6 and then set his sights on his teammate Alonzo Lopez. Couple of iffy moments down at turn 1 that still got some wet patches there from heavy rain throughout the day and overnight. There's Ricardo, unfortunately retiring from the race early. Not the way to end his season that he would have been hoping for, but thankfully all okay with Ricardo, not his bike. As we saw a familiar story up front, didn't we? Alonzo Lopez being chased by Fermin as the 2 Liqui Moly intact machines of Lucas Tulovich and Aradon fought for 3rd place, and Tulovich got it done down into turn 1 on his teammate Norradine. Didn't look back from there, and then the red flags came out after Leon August's bike said no more. Oil was spilt on the start-finish straight. Then with just 5 laps to go, the race was completed, and the number 21 of Alonzo Lopez won his 2nd race of the year. A fantastic way to end what has been a phenomenal season for Alonzo Lopez. Ultimately finished 2nd in the championship standings, of course, with Fermin wrapping up the title in Jerez last time out a couple of months ago. But take nothing away from either of them. Fermin the champion, and Alonzo Lopez have been a class apart this season. There's the results then. Alonzo Lopez didn't finish a lap ahead of any of those riders, but there's a bit of confusion with the timing screens with the red flags coming out when they did. So there's your top 3, Aldeguer and Tulovich, Adam Norradine and Roberto Garcia. Fantastic ride from the young Spaniard to finish 5th on the Superstock 600 Yamaha. Harder, Wilford, Kubo and Perez claimed top 9 finishes, with Alex Skrig on the 2nd Superstock 600 Yamaha claiming 10th. Dimaseki, we'll be seeing more of him next year in 2022 when he makes the step up to the Moto2 World Championship with the Yamaha VR46 Mastercamp team. Toledo, Reto, Torresias and Leon August completed the points in the last race of the season in the Moto2 European Championship in 2021. There's the other finishers across the line then. Cyber, Vosacek and Crosser taking top 20s. There you can see Javi Cardalus battling for 4th and 3rd in the championship against Lucas Tulovich, ultimately falling short in the end, with Tulovich taking a podium and Cardalus retiring.
Tercera plaza para Luka Tulovich.
Time for the final podium then of the season in the Moto2 class here in the FIM CV Repsol. Team Chiatti team member taking to the podium. Once again, they're getting used to that, aren't they, in the Moto2 European Championship. Luka Tulovich, another podium for the German to end his season on a high. Fermin Aldeguer, the champion, taking second, with Lonzo Lopez standing on the top set for a second time this season, the second time in a row. He'll be more than happy with that heading into the winter break. Another trophy for the Boscoscura Team Chiatti cabinet. I'm sure they're busy trying to build a couple more to fit all of them in after 2 wonderful seasons in the European Championship. Get ready to see Fermin Aldeguer much more in 2022. And Alonso Lopez, a fantastic season from the Spaniard after stepping up to the Moto2 Honda machine from Moto3. And Lukas Tulovich gets the €200 check. A nice little way to go with the podium to end his season.
Un aplauso para los 4 premiados, Luka Chiatti, Luka Tulovich, Fermin y Alonso.
Congratulations then to all the podium finishers, to Alonso Lopez, to Fermin Aldeguer, and to Lukas Tulovich. Congratulations to all of them on a fantastic season. Fermin Aldeguer, the 2021 European champion. Alonso Lopez, the 2-time winner. And Lukas Tulovich finished 3rd overall in the standings. So quite fitting, really, that the final podium of the year is the top 3 in the standings. The drinks will now flow. Not for Fermin Aldeguer, though, of course, only 16 years old. It's so easy to forget, as we said earlier in the broadcast, that he's still so young, so much potential in Fermin Aldeguer.
The only thing that Pedro Acosta could be happy about not winning in Texas. Don't get the spoils there. But yeah, it's been an amazing season, hasn't it? So let's have a look at those the championship standings then. So it's Fermin Aldeguer, we already knew, was the king of Europe in Moto2 this year. 39 points clear of Alonso Lopez in the end, with Tulovich wrapping up that 3rd overall ahead of Cardelus Noureddin. Sam Wilford in 6th, Mattia Rato, Dimas Eki in 8th there, ahead of Alex Toledo in 9th. That was pretty close, wasn't it? Equal on points there. Tiger Harder then rounding out the top 10 ahead of Kenneth Kubo, Piotr Bisakerski, who sadly is not here this weekend, Alessandro Zetti, McKinley Kyle, Fernando Paz, Takeshi Izukuza, and Jurel Boboom and Aleix View. Ishizuka, I think I got wrapped up around that one. Then Andy Bedoya, Diego Perez, Oscar Gutierrez, Jan Mertens, Luis Miguel Verdugo, Jeremy Bernet, and then the other runners who've disappeared a little bit quickly there. But it truly was a fantastic season in Moto2 once again in the European Championship. Like we said, next season is a new era. Not only does the FIM CV Repsol become FIM Junior GP, but also we get Triumph Power in the Moto2 category, bringing it in line with the World Championship, which of course, as we said earlier, switched in 2019. So that will be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, very exciting times for the European Championship, of course. Using Honda engines, not the same as the World Championship, but yeah, like Fran correctly says, moving to Triumph-powered engines in 2022. So another new challenge for all the riders to get used to the Triumph-powered engines next year.
And the stock 6 standings in the end then is Alex Ekskrig, who took that, and well clear of Andre Vostatek in 2nd, Kevin Orgis, Sander Cruiser, Leon Orgis, Guillermo Marcel Moreno, Federico Minozzi, Mika Perez and Alex Perez in 8th and 9th there. So it's a really, really impressive season from Ekskrig. And then Filip Rahacek, Nicholas Chris Scheiber, Andres Pablo Gonzalez, Roberto Garcia, Jamie Davis, Antonio Carpe, Carlos Torresillas and Simon Jespersen, the Dane there in 17th place. let's not forget who was the king of Stock 6 last year. It was Fermin Aldeguer. And then we have Kiko Maria, Portuguese rider Eduardo Monteiro, Ottaviani, Martin Vugrinec, who sadly his race ended in a crash today, and Jacopo Hostchuk, there, the Romanian, rounding out those scorers.
There we go then, that's it for action in the 2021 Moto2 European Championship. Lonzo Lopez signs off in 2021 with a second victory of the season here in Valencia, but it's Fermin Aldeguer who takes the crown after a sensational battle between the pair in 2021. It's been fascinating viewing between the two Team Boscoscura Chiatti riders, and we look forward to seeing Lonzo Lopez here again next year and Fermin Aldeguer making the step up to Moto2. Still got 2 races to go though today. After the Moto2, it's Moto3 Junior World Championship action, the final race, and then the title decider in the Hawkers European Talent Cup. Do stick around.